Hello, and welcome to your favorite podcast, bringing you the most thoughtfully infused and absurdity-laced horror film commentary around. It's The Fear of God. If you like what you hear, you can find all your favorite foggy paraphernalia at thefearofgodpodcast.com. Things like merch and episode archives and links to our Discord channel and how to become a patron. Become a patron. Every week here in the fog, we explore what scares us to find what saves us. And who is this we I speak of? Why, it's me, one of your hosts, Nathan Rouse.
And me, your wonderful co-host, Friendo.
Oh, you are my wonderful co-host. Oh.
Yeah. Oh,
Friendo.
I see, yeah.
Wacky face, yes. Also with us today to welcome some other special guests. Allow me to welcome to the chat Fog's own Gorey Gamer Matt Murray. Matt, how are you, friend?
Hey, doing good. Hey, future Reed, get ready, because I'm tired of these motherfucking clowns and these motherfucking cornfields.
Appreciate that heads up.
Yeah.
Future Reed sent me back, and he
I didn't know what was happening there for a second. Yes, little sci-fi action, little Samuel L. action. Matt and Reed, this week we are also joined by friends of the Fog, heads of games publisher Van Ryder Games, and the creative geniuses behind Final Girl. If you're unaware, it is a Golden Geek Award-winning solo board game, which recently joined the hallowed halls of the top 100 board games of all time on Board Game Geek. It is our friends, Evan Derrick and AJ Porfirio. What's up, gentlemen?
Hey, hello, everybody.
Hey, glad to be back again. I appreciate the bribe this time. And
Yeah?
I love that you are now bribing your guests, and look forward to future guests also receiving monetary compensation for their appearances on the show. So that's really a lovely change, guys. I'm a big fan. That's brilliant. I love AJ's
my email.
Yeah, AJ's perfectly timed. Wait.
And mine too. I was like, oh, wait. Oh,
did you not? I'm sorry, AJ. Did you not get anything? Oh, my bad.
That was just for the special ones, Evan.
It must be like those you're a top business leader emails that you get.
Yeah.
Thought it was a scam. You should know I am one of the top 10 business leaders in the United States, and have been for 3 years running. They only require me to send them $2,000, and I will get printed up in their little periodical.
That's good business.
And you gladly do it. And AJ keeps wondering what's happening with the coffers. Listeners, Evan, AJ, you all find us now in the midst of our look back series titled 2025 Still Alive, where we discuss horror films from the previous year. Last week, Reed and I were joined by fogger and author Brandon Grafius as we ran through the night with Zach Kreger's now Oscar-nominated film, Weapons. And today, AJ and Evan and Matt and Reed and I will make some more friendos as we chat the Eli Craig directed film based on Adam Cesare's novel of the same name, Clown in a Cornfield.
I didn't see which Oscars they got nominated for. Will Sassover supporting actor?
For Clown in a
Cornfield.
Yeah. Just costuming.
Yeah.
Don't fire shots before even there, Matt. Come on. Jeez Louise. Because before we get to that movie that you're already sort of sinking your teeth into, we really want to take a beat because, everyone, it's Final Girl season. Spoiling what's ahead a bit, not only this week are we featuring AJ and Evan, but next week we'll also be featuring a quartet of actual Final Girls, friends and gamers who've made their appearance in the game, one of whom will be a first-time guest in the Fog. With that preamble in play, let's talk about what's going on with Final Girl to merit all this celebration. So AJ and Evan, we're thrilled to have you here. I'm going to pivot to you guys for a couple minutes and just let our listeners know what's going on with Final Girl, because it's a big moment right now for you guys.
Yeah, we have Series 4 Kickstarter is coming up on February 3rd. That's the big news. We are on the eve of that. Hard at work at the VRG offices, crunching and doing final prep as we are known to do, and just very excited to get that launched and offer the masses another giant box of horror goodness.
We've joked that now we have to offer up the Final Girl branded calyx from IKEA to be able to store all of the stuff we make.
Yep.
So I have
after this, we're replacing the ultimate box with a 4x4 or 2x2 calyx shelf.
That's right. It's the ultimate shelf.
That's like the add-on feature.
Yeah.
Reed, what were you going to say?
I do have a question. And it's possible that this question is a bit too inside baseball, so I will completely put it back in the box if it is. But I am curious if because this particular season, this series in Final Girl, you changed the rollout model. So before, it was, the Kickstarter was how you could get the ultimate box. This time around, you've been layering out some different feature films periodically throughout time. I don't want you guys to, feel pressured to share things you're not ready to divulge, but I am curious what lessons have been learned or exactly, how you feel about the two different models. Are you happy with how things played out? Looking to make some changes? I'm just curious how that's gone for you guys.
We're considering this crowdfunding campaign. We're thinking about it as the end of an era. So the way we've done Final Girl previously, which is big crowdfunding campaigns, big ultimate boxes, get a whole ton of stuff, which then results in an enormous amount of work and strain for us. And it also means that, everybody has to wait and they get a whole bunch of it at once. And so we really wanted to move to a more product, like where we could release products whenever we wanted to, like, every quarter or do things differently. And we had started doing that this past year. And, and that was actually like our plan was going, and we are going to potentially continue with that in the future. But like the state of the world and the certain like tariffs and other things kind of threw a wrench into a lot of our plans we had laid out, and we had to pivot and change. But we really are thinking of this crowdfunding campaign as kind of, it's honestly a chance for us to reset and rethink the way we bring. We're still planning to bring Final Girl. We're going to continue to bring Final Girl to people as long as they want it, and so far everybody seems to continue to want it. So we're not stopping anytime soon. But we are looking at this as kind of a pivot from how we've done things previously to doing hopefully a simpler, easier to understand, more accessible retail focused model in the future.
Okay. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah. I think the plan, so what the wrench that got thrown at us was specifically we always had the plan to do series 4, put the feature films out, building up to the ultimate box. Where the wrench got thrown in is we weren't planning on doing any pre-orders or anything. The plan was for those to go out into retail and distribution, and that was it. And then when the tariffs happened, that's when we needed to make a change and do a pre-order. That's why we did the summer releases. That was kind of actually a little bit of a last minute funding campaign due to those things. But the plan, it was always, Evan, maybe you don't remember this. I actually kind of wanted to shift to, just individual releases, and you kind of fought for the 4th series box. So, but yeah, like Evan said, like there's going to be a shift, and we are marking this essentially as the end of era 1 of Final Girl. So not to we're not trying to give anyone FOMO, but this is in the spirit of transparency going to be probably the last time to get things like the series 1, 2, 3, and 4 mystery boxes, which have always been Kickstarter exclusives. Never say never, but we are not going to plan to do any more of that again. There will be a lot of other shifts that I could take the whole show going into, but we will be communicating those things and the timing and what that looks like. But we are certainly, like Evan said, going to continue making Final Girl. How that looks may just be a little bit different. But we consider the feature films single feature film releases to be a big success. It's been great.
Awesome.
I think it keeps Final Girl front of mind of our audience and our potential audience, and just there's always something new coming out and something to talk about, and we really love that aspect of it.
You know,
That's very
when
cool.
when you
Thanks for
guys
sharing.
announced it, my plan was, okay, they're gonna release everything at once. I'll just wait till everything's out. But then, as everything was rolled out individually, magically the items just appeared in my shopping cart, and clicked the button, and they were in my house. So I don't know. I couldn't. You can't wait once you see the new stuff. So it was exciting to kind of get that trickled out. So
yeah, I know there's some people I think that have held strong, but I wonder how many people made it maybe like one feature film and then they were like, man, I just got to get it. Because everyone's else talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Well, I know, Nathan, you were asking me questions like, oh, how do if I get this now, can I get the other stuff later?
Wow.
You're like, why did I give this guy my
trying
number?
to make everybody happy. Yeah.
We got you guys. You guys, we'll always make sure you're taken care of.
We appreciate that. I myself had such a tremendous bit of FOMO when Nathan and Matt specifically will learn. There was one release, a rather recent one, that I don't know what was going on in my life. My work is very, very busy. There's been a lot of travel recently, and so a lot of things going on, and I missed an announced release, and suddenly like Matt's showing me like, hey, I'm playing this one, and I'm like, what I just had palimpsesms all the way down the thread where I was like, when did this happen? What? And he's like, yeah, bro, like we ordered it, like they dropped it on the website. I'm like, what? Where is the yeah, it was funny. My reaction was overblown. So yes.
Well, to y'all's credit for so many things, but in terms of the intermittent release versus the one big box approach, which, it is truly fun the times when I've done. So I got in at series 2, and so at that point got series 1 and 2. So that's just a massive box to come in all at once. Well, then got the series 3 all in, and then for 4 I've done the sort of piecemeal approach. And Matt, I know this will speak to your experience too, but like Champions, a game like that has just these like every month or two, there's just something out. And now, the collector nerd in me is just like, cool, I've got $30 to go just out to the game store real quick and go pick up that thing. And that's what's kind of fun now about this model is just, I'm on the pull list, as it were, at my GameStop, at my game store, and they just text me. It's like, oh, Final Girl X and Y are in. Okay, cool. I'll see y'all this afternoon.
Easier to explain to the wife also, instead of this giant box appearing on the doorstep.
Yeah. We're looking out for them for sure. But I jokingly referenced credit to give you guys, like, one, I don't know if y'all are putting this together. This will, at least one or both of you have been on The Fear of God this is your 5th time, I believe. So that's just exciting to chart that path and that story. But also just, I said it the first time you were on, I'll say it again now. Like for me personally, the game doesn't hit the table nearly as much as I'd like to. Life is full, but it just looks so damn good on the shelf. And it's just one of those products that is so thoughtfully designed. So just like, like even for my household where not everybody, everybody knows Dad does The Fear of God, but like some of the imagery on it can be a little spooky and whatever, but even the kids are kind of, when they wander in where it's at, they'll kind of pore over it a little bit and just glance at it. It's just a really well-designed product. So hats off to you guys as you sort of close out era 1, as it's been called, of Final Girl. Well, that's exciting. So just to reiterate, I believe it was set February 3rd. Is that right? When the new Kickstarter. So this episode will come out January 27th, I believe. So for listeners, you got a week once this releases before that Kickstarter launches, and be sure to get some of those products because, as AJ, you just referenced, if we're retiring some stuff, those are some really cool items, especially the mystery box for Series 3. All of them are cool, but Mystery Box Series 3 is pretty badass. So I won't spoil it for those who might still be able to get it.
I'm so excited.
Wait until you see the Mystery Box for Series 4.
Okay. I'm excited. You could if you have like a prototype right there off camera.
I do. I totally could. I totally could show it to you right now.
Well,
crap!
In that
we need
spirit,
to
Nathan did say
the
you were going
calyx.
to announce the fifth the box from the series 4. So, do we need a drum roll or what are we doing?
That's
what Nathan said. I don't know. Was that part of the bribe?
Matt came with swords sharpened.
Hold on.
I'm
editing the
hysterical.
Kickstarter to 3x2 calyx. I forgot about the new mystery box.
Oh
yeah,
yes,
the new mystery box is even larger than the last one.
Oh boy, it's like a severed head prop.
Wow.
Thing, it just sits on the shelf.
Prop.
No. We're sending everyone a real severed head.
Right.
10,000.
Jeez.
Hopefully we don't go over 10,000, or we might have to ask Hans to do some more work.
I think you've got bigger problems than just tariffs with that choice. But nonetheless,
I will.
Well, thank you all for hanging out.
If I can, I was just gonna. I've been playing Demon in the Shadows a lot recently. It's a tough one.
yeah.
It's really tough. You got the malice spreads throughout the abbey, and if you're in a place with malice, you have a black die that you're rolling, the cursed die, which has more failures on it. So as if the dice weren't bad enough, you're rolling an even worse die, which is rough. And then I had one game where the demon possessed, or the nun possessed by a demon, was in the dormitory, but then I pulled the Mother Abbey. The Mother Abbot, who goes around and directs people towards the dormitory. So I had a nice little plan going. I was like, okay, I'm going here, saving you, and then she comes through and sends everybody straight into the demons. So that was a fun one. That didn't last long after that. So,
Matt, you need to resume our text thread because I get this vicarious experience through you.
Yes.
You've been playing that one. I've been thinking about playing that one.
Yes.
And it just taunts me on the shelf. Okay. Thank you for the update, fellas. And we celebrate Series 4 and Final Girl overall right along with you. Before we get to our movie proper, we are quickly going back to Hawkins, Indiana with a patron-only segment featuring a conversation about episode 2 of season 5 of Stranger Things. So, to the Upside Down, or the Patron Mobile.
Well, that was fun. I really enjoyed that.
I didn't know you were going to get
really
so political, Nathan.
By,
that was wild.
I know, and the way that you and Matt hurled just relentless profanities at each other, I'm like, you have my work cut out for me.
Most of those were towards you, Reed,
I appreciate
actually.
that.
Yeah.
I caught that, but so thank you. But anyway, okay, without further ado, so about this movie, we are here to.
Reed. Hang on. I'm gonna interrupt you here because I've got, I think this came up circa the time it happened, but I was on the Van Ryder podcast, Fear the Final Girl, a couple months ago, and Evan kind of impromptu challenged or set forth a horror movie trivia challenge, and
I heard
AJ just really struggled to keep up on that one.
You are
so I
wow.
want to no this now the Van Ryder boys are in our house, and I want to issue a board game trivia challenge. That I've got some questions here.
Are they from AI?
AJ, you made the point on when I was on. They were like, "Hey, a board game trivia, you are going down." And the good news is I just get to moderate this one, so whoever is challenging you here gets to go down. So I'll let you pick, AJ. You can either go against both Reed and Matt, or just Matt, because Matt. All respect to Reed, but I actually think Matt has the edge on both of us in terms of knowledge here. And
100%.
So y'all know my prompt. I followed Evan's lead here and just chat GPT'd this. My prompt was create 10 trivia themed questions of medium difficulty about the board game industry, referencing actual board games in the subject of the question. So no, it's not really about personalities. It is actually, the questions are about board games that exist out there. So AJ, your call is to challenge either Matt and Reed as a duo, or just Matt.
Well, first off, I appreciate the chance to, now that I've ruined my reputation for horror knowledge, to also do so for board games.
Who is this guy?
Thank you.
And you can phone a friend during the challenge. You can phone in Evan for one or two. If you need.
All right. I'm going all in. I'm taking on both of them.
Okay.
Right.
Here we go. So we got 10 questions. We'll see how this goes. Evan, you keep track of who scores.
Sure.
It's points don't matter. What is the whose line is it anyway set up? Okay. So question number one.
They seem to matter with the horror one that you just called me out.
You are right.
That's right.
You're absolutely right. In that spirit, they absolutely matter. Forgive me.
They matter.
I just meant, there's no winning here.
You will be soundly mocked if you don't win, AJ. So they do matter.
I mean,
Nathan's made that very clear.
yes.
No, it's all in love. Okay, here we go. Question number one, and you just call it out. Okay, there's really no rhyme or reason to this. Just call out the answer when you have it. Which designer created Catan, a game often credited with helping popularize modern Euro games in the mid-1990s?
A Kluber or
Evan Derrick.
what's his name? No.
And I'm out. Oh.
No, I know it.
No.
I think Evan knows.
Klaus Tuber.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yes.
Klaus Tuber. Yes, absolutely. This is going to be a quick game. Question number two. Good job.
Stop.
Point.
Don't heckle me, Evan. Get out of here.
Hey, I have to participate somehow.
Just bring in my
Yes,
bona fides. I was
you-
ready to guess Mattel. So, I mean, there's that.
There you go. Yeah.
my phone a friend is heckling me.
He's turning on you. Okay, question two. Dominion is widely regarded as the game that popularized which core mechanic?
Deck building.
Now,
I
deck
beat
building is
you.
the right answer. AJ did get to it first. He said deck right before Matt started, but look at you two. That's so cute.
I know
Question
that game.
number
I own that
three.
game.
Yeah.
To my
Okay.
surprise, yeah.
Question number three. Ticket to Ride won this award in 2004.
Fields
I'm not
de
gonna
Jar.
test
Field
my-
de Jar.
that one. What is the primary goal players are trying to achieve in the game to score points?
Build routes.
Collect train routes.
The word routes came out of Matt's mouth first, so he gets a point. Complete destination tickets by connecting specific cities with routes. There you go. Good job. Thank you
Right.
for keeping score there, Evan. All right, question
I have
4.
played that.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1 significantly changed how people viewed campaign-style board games. What key feature distinguishes Legacy
Tearing
from
up
traditional
cards. Permanency.
permanent changes to the game that carry over between sessions? Good job, AJ. All right,
Fun
Matt,
fact.
you pull ahead.
I think I'm on a
just want-
delay.
Fun
I
fact.
think there's a.
I don't know if anyone's seen Marty Supreme yet, but that's what it feels like is happening right now, Matt. You gotta come back. You gotta rally. Okay.
Pandemic
Question
Legacy
number 5.
Pandemic Legacy wasn't the first game to do that, though.
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's
maybe.
what
Well,
happens when
it
you
just
ask
says
He's using
ChatGPT.
AI, so
Right. I agree. I'm just taking my cue from you guys here. Okay, so number 5, we're almost halfway there. Gloomhaven blends tactical combat with long-term character progression. What tabletop role-playing game element is most clearly reflected in its design?
I mean,
Okay.
card play, battle, combat,
Role playing.
What tabletop role-playing game element
leveling
is most
up.
clearly reflected in its design? There you go.
initiative.
That's
What did he
it.
say?
Leveling up. Yep. Character progression and leveling up. That's just what this says.
That
Don't
question
shoot-
was lame.
Don't shoot the messenger. All right. Back half here. Number 6 in Carcassonne. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Question mark. What is the purpose of placing a meeple onto a feature like a road, city, or monastery? What is the purpose?
Score
of
the
placing one?
points.
To score the points. Good job, AJ. Look at you. All right. Number 7 in Agricola. What recurring requirement forces
Feed your
players to
people.
feed your people? Yes, feeding the family members. I didn't have to finish the
Wow.
question. Okay.
I didn't show up
Number
here
8.
to get embarrassed. I'm out.
Yeah.
There's 3
That's what
left.
Nathan
Too
does.
late.
He invites you to
I
embarrassment.
That's
just
left.
wish it was Nathan, Matt.
Somewhat here. Number 8. Azul revolves around drafting tiles. From where do players primarily take
from
tiles
the
during a
center
round?
circles
Their
in the
butt.
center. Center. There's
I
4
heard their
circles.
butt.
Not the butt.
Sir,
Oh,
not the.
Was that Lackey Face?
Yes,
it
Lackey
was
Face said
my
the
single
butt.
contribution
from
to
their
this
butt.
game.
Okay,
there's circles
so,
in the middle
AJ,
of the
did you say
table
anything?
with 4
Me?
tiles on it, and you pull one of them.
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to go with what Matt said. It says
Yeah.
the central market, but that seems in keeping with what Matt is describing, so he's going to go there.
None of us who play Azul ever call it the central
center
market.
market.
Okay, well, take it up with the question design team. So, yes. All right, so 2 questions left. Root is notable for giving each faction a completely different playstyle. What broader game design concept?
Asymmetric.
That's pretty tie there. I'd say no points.
Okay.
Or each a point. Whatever. It's kind of the same difference.
I only have
Evans out
5
of
fingers, so no points.
I'll hold up one for AJ. So it's
All right.
7 plus.
Last question. In Brass, Birmingham, what 2 types of transportation networks do players
Canals
build?
and rail.
There you go.
Yeah.
Good job,
Yeah,
man.
I just played it
So
the
what
first
was it,
time.
6-4?
5. They both got asymmetric at the same time, so it's
Okay.
5-4.
I'll take it.
All right.
I'll take it.
Good job. There we go. Look, I just envisioned this back and forth. So next time a fogger is on Fear the Final Girl, we'll do another horror movie and see what happens. But yeah.
Good job, AJ. You didn't totally embarrass yourself.
Thanks.
All right, Reed, forgive that interlude.
Friends
Back
like
to
these.
you, sir.
That is completely fine. I mean, I always love the opportunity to get to participate in a bunch of trivia questions that I have no clue for. I was like, oh yeah, that's fantastic.
Dude, as I was reading him, I was like, I don't know.
How do you not have a final girl question? Come on,
Yeah.
ChatGPT.
That is not fair. That is not fair. That is a flag on the play. So we are here ostensibly not to discuss the upcoming Kickstarter of Final Girl, although that's amazing, and not to play a trivial board game, but we are here to discuss Eli Craig's film Clown in a Cornfield, based upon the first novel in a series of novels by Adam Cesare. So this this particular book, back when it was only a book, has made referenced appearances on the show many times. I think it first appeared, I wouldn't possibly be able to guess which episode, but it first appeared when I pitched it as a Whatcha because I was reading it and loved it. And then all these years later, here we have an actual film that was released last year that we're talking about on the show. So I'm going to go to our guests first. And since Evan was merely keeping score during the game, I'm going to start with you, Evan. Tell us a little bit about...
He did it so well, though.
He did. It was impeccable. So Evan, tell us a little bit about your exposure to Clown in a Cornfield. How did you hear about it? Where did you see it? What did you think about it?
First of all, I didn't realize it was based on a book. And if you tell me that the book is good, I'm interested. But in no way, shape, or form would I have ever gone, oh, I definitely need to read the book that this movie is based on. Like, it is... like, it's about as straightforward. I mean, there's like a mild twist halfway through, which is like, it was kind of like, oh, well, this is a little bit different. But for the most part, it is about the most straightforward horror movie you can get. And everything that you want to happen is in the title. I mean, it is about as descriptive as it comes. Clown in a Cornfield. You totally know exactly what that is and what you're getting. And for the most part, the film just completely delivers on the premise. So I had heard that it was, I had heard positive things about it. It was kind of like the consensus or the feeling I got from people when they were telling me about it was like, I didn't have anything better to do. And I was just like, okay, I'll watch the old Clown in a Cornfield. Sure. And then, you know what? It wasn't terrible. And then that's kind of how it came to me. So I was like, okay, this looks like fun. Let's watch this. So, it's kind of almost an old school 80s-esque slasher film, or maybe, early, like late 90s, early aughts. It's kind of got like Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer, or it's kind of got that to it. But modern horror films are so different. They're all like, yeah, they're all dealing with grief and pathos, and it's like all emotional, which I really like. Or it's like Terrifier, and it's just completely over the top. And how gory can we get? And you don't really see a lot of those. Although I guess they're coming out. Hard Eyes was kind of like this, and you see kind of this classic, slasher with a mask who kills in some certain specific kind of way, but then the movie is just people running away from him. And on that note, the movie succeeds admirably. It is, if you like those kinds of horror films, if you want more Texas Chainsaw Massacres or Halloweens or Friday the 13th, that kind of feel, then and you want a little dose of humor in there as well, then Clown in the Cornfield, is just
Corn
what
on the
the
Clown
doctor
Field.
ordered. Corn in a clow field.
No, thank you. Thank you very much for that. I think that's a pretty on point, astute observation. Matt, as the just completely embarrassed loser of our trivia game, I'm going to go to you next, and I'll permit you to regale us. Same question as Evan. What was your awareness of, exposure to, and how did you see it, and what did you think about it?
Yeah, so read the book when it came out, and I'm actually in the middle of the third book now. Enjoying it. And
there's 3 books.
There's a
What?
fourth
There's
one
a
coming
fourth
out
one
this
coming
year.
out in August. Yeah.
How does this premise support 4 books? I'm really curious,
gets
because
wild.
I do not understand.
It gets pretty
It
wild.
gets pretty
I'll say.
wild.
Anyway, I'm sorry.
The third book
Continue.
is called The Church of Friendo. So just to give you an idea of some of the directions. And then the fourth book is Lights, Camera, Friendo. And they're making a movie based off the events of the first book in very Scream fashion. And then, all kinds of meta stuff's going to happen there. So yeah, the books get pretty wild. I'll say that. But yeah, so I enjoyed the books. So was looking forward to the movie. I actually watched it with my daughter, my middle child, my 15-year-old daughter. And she's just randomly kind of gotten into horror movies. I don't know when it happened, but she just started watching them with her friends, watching It and Smile and Black Phone and everything, and just kind of all of a sudden I was like, oh, so you just like watching horror movies now? Okay, so I'm watching this one. Do you want to watch it with me? She said, yeah, sure. So, and I think it was surprisingly appropriate for kind of some of the themes in the movie. At the risk of Evan making fun of me, I do think there are some themes there that they hint at as far as, father-daughter, generational, animosity, that kind of stuff that, I'm sure we'll maybe dig into. So yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I think there were enough clever moments that kind of brought it above standard what you expect. Just a couple of unexpected turns that I felt like most of the time worked. And so yeah, so I enjoyed it overall.
Nice. I very, very much appreciate that. AJ, I'll refer to you at least a couple more times as champion. AJ, same question to you. How'd you hear about this? And yes, what'd you think about Clown in a Cornfield?
Yeah, I had heard about it. I mean, just from general hearing about horror movies, as we are known to do, having made a game in the genre. And kind of like Evan, yeah, I heard like, oh yeah, it's a good watch. Like no one like blown away by it, anything like that. I definitely watched it 2 nights ago in preparation for this. So it is a little bit fresh on the mind. So that's good. I think Evan's description was pretty good. It's has a 80s, 90s kind of horror vibe feel to it. Some of the kills definitely like had me like, ooh, okay, like pretty clever kills and yeah, it was fine. I don't know if I'm clamoring for a sequel, but it was a good time. I think the description of like, especially I guess if you're scared of clowns and you can bring yourself to watch a horror movie, then This one's for you.
If you're scared of cornfields,
killer clowns are
you're done.
Yes, exactly. Killer clowns are having a moment between Welcome to Derry and the Terrifier series, and Clown in a Cornfield like that. Yeah, killer clowns are just they're kind of having a moment. I don't know that I love that, but okay. Before I give my take, Nathan, you and I have mentioned this in many ways in passing over time. And we've breezed by the conversation about the film before too, as well. But how do you overall feel about this piece? I can't remember if you've read the book or not either. So yeah, tell us what you think.
I have not read any of the books. I do have the first one. Penny, our 15-year-old, did read it, but I've not read it. That said, and for any brand new listener to The Fear of God, one, welcome. We're glad you're here. Two, we will spoil things, so I will do that here in a certain fashion. The unbelievably, for the life I live, I have seen this movie 4 times now.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched a screener of it because we were going to interview Adam for the show. And then I did that as also just sort of a test run to know, was it palatable enough for Penny? So then it hit the theaters and I took her to see it. And we had a grand time. And then it came out for home. You know, does Adam make a dime off of my purchase of Clown in a Cornfield, the film? I don't know, but I felt a little bit of loyalty, and so did pick up a physical copy of the film, and we watched it then, and then just watched it this week for this conversation. And I do think there's a chance 4 is too many, but what I do want to communicate here is we're a bunch of 40-something dudes, 2 of whom work in a horror space where you're constantly reflecting on and generating horror-themed ideas and content. The other 2 of us who have been doing this podcast for 10 years, Matt, who joined midstream. So we all wade pretty deeply into these waters. What I think is valuable about again, I haven't read the book, but I'll pick the movie purely on its own, is I think it's just a really great gateway for people interested in the genre who can maybe handle a little bit more gory stuff, but aren't ready for some of the things we've been name checking. Like I find this movie very fun. It taken on its own merits, which I think it looks great. I think it's well performed. I think these kids are decent. I actually think that the kind of this is the spoiler, when a horde of clowns come out of the cornfield, the titular cornfield, the first time I saw this, it really elevated for me. I was like, wow, I did not see that coming. Suddenly the stakes are different. The game is changing, which obviously, as Matt, as you alluded to, that choice feeds into the overall themes of the piece. So I don't know that, I mean, clearly it's not going to be like, top 10 horror films of all time, but I think for what it is, it executes very well on its premise, and I find it very funny. The scripting in the back half, as the girls are being chased through the cornfield, there's a lot of very funny, clever scripting and bits that happen in there. And to your point, AJ, a couple of the kills that are like, wow, that's decent for something that ostensibly might be received as a little cheesier. So no, I feel, I feel pretty strongly that this is a fun film, especially for, like Matt, to your reference with your kid, for me and Penny, like someone who's just getting a taste for the genre and wants something that's going to push them deeper into the waters, but not, immediately it chapter 1 and 2 or whatever, which are much more violent and kind of sinister in their tone. So no, I like Clown in a Cornfield, the film, a lot. I'm curious if they end up doing more, and so we'll see on that front. But that is my take Field.
Nice. Well, thank you very much for it. It's funny, as I've been listening to all of our responses to it, the theme that I'm picking up on is that it sounds like this is a film, an adjective we might put towards it that doesn't get enough appreciation or sometimes comes across as like backhanded praise, is it's solid. Like, is it tremendously groundbreaking? Absolutely not. Is it, is it aggressive in its tone, or is it, unduly ambitious? It's not any of those things, but it's solid. It understands kind of what it's here to do and does it fairly effectively, I think. So I had probably a similar experience, at least going into this film, as what Matt described. I came to this story by way of the book. The book title caught me immediately, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I will check out this book." And I mentioned it on the show because I was raving about this book. Evan, you mentioned in passing, like, if I tell you the book is good, I think the book is great. I enjoy reading the book. I do enjoy this film. I enjoy reading the book more than I enjoy rewatching this movie. The book, I think, is fantastic. For one thing, and Matt, you can check me if this is your experience of the book as well. And then we've talked a lot about the film. I'll get to my feelings on it in a second. But the book is not as funny. And so therefore the deaths and the suspense are sharper and a lot more engaging. And especially like before there was a film to associate visual images with, a lot of the scenes in the book when the clown gets down to business are genuinely quite like, okay, this is pretty creepy. So I was very taken with the book. I have read the book 4 times. I enjoy the book. I enjoy the book so much. It is such a fast book to read. Like, it is so easy. It's well written, but it's also just really, really easy, kind of to the point Evan made about the directness of this particular film. I mean, the narrative is the film is a faithful adaptation of the narrative. The tone, the film is intentionally funnier than the book is, but in terms of just the narrative translation, it's pretty beat for beat. But I think the book is just fantastic. I used to praise that the book was the closest I had ever read to Scream the novel. Like, that's really what the book felt like to me when I read it. So now to the film. Like, I think this adaptation is solid. Let me get a couple of critical nitpicks out of the way. I think that it's structured very efficiently. I think it's paced very well. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of the interior dialogue. Like, if I'm picking nits, a lot of the jokes and a lot of the comments are really on the nose. Like, the villains, like that's really all that they really do. You almost picture the mustache that they are proverbially twirling. And there's a couple of little lines of dialogue that, especially this is my third time seeing this film, saw it for the same interview that Nathan referenced. I showed it to my son. It sounds like that's a theme here. I showed it to my son, and he really enjoyed it. And then I watched it again to refresh for this conversation. So if I'm nitpicking, some of the dialogue is a bit on the nose and a bit pedestrian. I don't mean that to say that it's like a bad screenplay, because adapting a book is hard, and they did a really, really good job of, diffusing down to the core elements of the narrative and making that work. That said, I do think that the other thing that I would kind of nitpick, and as I'm watching the visual aesthetic of this film, man, I'm going to use a term. It's the only term that I can think of, because Kurt Russell's commentary for a film that he was in with John Carpenter is just dancing around in my head. Kurt Russell had once described that there's some people who visually, they make films the way traffic cops direct traffic. Like, they function. They purely function. Like, it is well lit. It shows what it needs to show in the scene, but you don't walk away necessarily with anything that lodges in your memory as like, oh my God, what about that shot? It's there. It's functional. There's nothing that you could point to that's bad or doesn't work. It's completely efficient. So I don't mean that to come across like I'm, denigrating the piece at all, but I consider the visual aesthetic of Clown in a Cornfield to be exactly that. It is very, very efficient, as it were. And so anyway, those are my nitpicks out of the way. The things I really enjoy, I love the balance of humor. I love that it has a lighter tone. I love that that just the general narrative, the characters, I think, feel real. Their interactions feel real. I think there's a lot of praise I would heap upon the general performances for it. And to Nathan's point, like, it's a really good gateway. Like, it's the kind of thing where if somebody is sitting around spooky season Halloween and they're like, well, yeah, I want to watch something, but I don't want it to be too extreme. I don't want it to give me nightmares. Clown in a Cornfield is a really strong choice. It's a really good choice to be like, well, let's watch this, because you will probably have a good time. Yeah, it's a traffic cop. So that's my general take on it. I do want to maybe pivot us out of that, unless somebody has any real specific things they want to highlight. I want to pivot us out of that to something that is present in the film, but is much more aggressive in the novel in a way that that feels sharper and with more social commentary. In the novel, the disparity between, and this is where, to Nathan's warning, we're going to spoil stuff. This is the reveal. Who is behind the masks of the clown in the cornfield? The disparity between the older citizens of, God, now I'm, what is the name of the town? Bay Pen?
It is
Kettle
Springs.
Kettle Springs. I just kept seeing the Jack in the Box to the side with Bay Pen, and I was like, it's not Bay Pen, but I couldn't remember what it was. So the older inhabitants of Kettle Springs, their outlook on the world, and the disparity with the younger people who have either been born into or migrated to Kettle Springs, that sharp contrast is direct socio-political commentary. Adam has said as much, that he's like sort of playing in that field, that cornfield, if you will. And I'm curious how that resonated for you guys. Is that something that was like obvious from go? Did it surprise you at all? How do you feel about that general take? There's this very specific generational divide that drives some direct conflict, and I'm just curious people's thoughts on walking away from that.
I think it's barely there at all in the movie. I think you're bringing, the book sounds really interesting, and I was like really quickly reading a little bit about it. I think you're probably bringing a lot of what you saw or read in the book to your experience with the film, because to me, that's like, I mean, that is at best a plot motivator for why they're, it's kind of like, we want to have clowns killing people. Why did they kill people? Okay, it could be old people that are, mad at the youth and think that they're screwing up, that they're not deserving or whatever. Like, it's just in the movie that I saw, or my experience, it doesn't feel any more momentous than, I mean, any, Michael Myers or Freddy Krueger. Like, they all have their motivations, but really it's not about that. It's about, okay, we want to see clowns kill kids in a cornfield or do crazy things, and we need like a little bit of like a plot generator behind it. But other than that, the movie does not, at least to me, read as any kind of strong socio-political commentary about much of anything. I could see how maybe like a second film or a third film could build on that. You can kind of see the building blocks for it a little bit. But honestly, if you hadn't told me it was based on a book, and you hadn't told me that was like themes in the book and that kind of stuff, I would like, that doesn't stick out to me at all. I don't know. Maybe I'm dense. Maybe I'm, but it truly, I didn't feel very strongly about that at all from watching the movie.
Sure. I'm curious from AJ and Nathan as well, who have not read the book. Matt, not trying to dismiss you, but like, how did that resonate for you guys? Or did you have a similar take to Evan, where you're just like, no, it's kind of just giving lip service and little else?
What you think, AJ?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, it's kind of hard to really discuss the book. I like Evan, I didn't even know it was a book either, until I was just like looking some stuff up to just, find a synopsis to make sure, I could talk about people's names and stuff that I might have forgotten, stuff like that. And I'm like, wait, this is like talking about a book. So, yeah, I don't have a ton of thoughts on that. I just kind of, for me, it was like crack a beer, eat some popcorn, and just enjoy the show.
It definitely has that vibe to it. And Evan, to your to kind of support what you're after, what is interesting is, though I haven't read the book, our conversation with Adam gave me a little, more depth to kind of my comprehension than that might have been supported by reading the book, but kind of gave me a little more solid footing in seeing the themes. Because what I was going to say is, like Evan, your note, uh, you didn't use this phrasing, but it's kind of like they just kind of name check it. Generational conflict. Boom. Like they just kind of, hey, y'all see us, kind of naming that. And so this is going to it's going to sound like such a criticism. I actually don't intend it to be, but like the movie draws with crayons, whereas some of the stuff we typically do is in like, fine art, right? So it just is really the book is a YA novel. So it is intended as, clear structure, clear thematic elements coming through, not some, whether those prove deep or not, notwithstanding, they're just meant to be readily visible. I think for me, I find the effort interesting from the movie. Just like, I will agree the way it's executed in the movie is a little drive-by. Oh, by the way, and bless his heart, Kevin Durant. I love that dude. And like you
Kimi himself.
His face shows up on screen like bad guy. He's the bad guy. I don't know how it's gonna play out, but that's the bad guy. And so it's not surprising at all. I do find it interesting that, maybe this is borrowed from the book, I don't know, but that he has the clown makeup painted on versus wearing an actual friendo mask, which I found interesting in the film. But to kind of a little bit of what we've been saying, I think the generational conflict aspect to it does kind of, it's very on the nose. I mean, when they're in the diner at the kind of third mark, the adults are like actively kind of community theater level sneering at Quinn. It's like, what are y'all doing? Like, come on, you're making this very obvious that there's some sort of animosity here. I mean, for me personally, another theme, and we don't have to get away from the generational one, but just to throw another one in the bucket that is a little, again, shallow but present, that I found interesting was, you can get hoity-toity and call this postmodern or something if you want, but the kids' inability to know when they are actively being antagonized or not, because they have been pranking citizens and each other. And I do find that actually a pretty interesting thematic idea that, again, the movie doesn't go super deep on, but I like it as a new version of, we've name-checked Scream, we've name-checked some of these slashers, like when the actual victims, because they've been perpetrators, don't know they're victims. That's a pretty cool aspect.
I think one thing that's tricky, and it is maybe represented better in the book, is that the themes, the generational divide or whatever, are portrayed in this over the top, absurd, sociopathic way that it is so unbelievable that it makes it difficult to take any underlying commentary seriously. It's kind of like when you watch Scream and the bad guys show up in Scream. I love Scream. Scream is one of my favorite franchises, but every time the bad guy reveals themselves, and I'm like, how are you so sociopathic? Like, oh, and there were 3 of you this time, and you're all this sociopathic, and you're murdering like your brothers and your mom because you like. It's just like it breaks down almost immediately from a logic, emotional standpoint. It's just it doesn't make any real sense, and so, but it's the engine that drives scream. And so you just kind of accept, okay, yeah, these people are total sociopaths, and of course they'll murder their mom and then maybe also get murdered. So then we think that it's all in service to tricking us into thinking that it's not really the person doing it. And so I felt that way about this, and that when they get, when they finally reveal and all the parents or whatever, the old people are all together at the end and they're all like cackling as they're getting ready to murder kids with pitchforks. I'm like, if there is any kind of underlying social commentary there, it is completely blown away by just the absurdity of the premise. Now, I could imagine, like you're saying that the book is more serious. I could imagine that it could be presented in a way that makes you think about it more. But the movie, per se, did not present it to me in a way that made me think about it at all.
Well, in your defense, even though I would be kind of a champion on a general level for the movie, you aren't wrong, Evan. Like as elevated as I get when, a dozen clowns come out of the single cornfield, when the movie tries to substantiate that by the end with the extended monologue of the adults, like if you pull even the flimsiest thread on that plot, it unravels completely. You're like, how?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just like, don't think about it, Nathan. Don't think about it too hard. It's fine.
Right.
Just go with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy the kills. Yeah.
So which I am totally cool with. I think that that's fun. But when I'm like, now I'm curious to read the book because I'm like, oh, I would like to know how this could have been developed in a more interesting, thoughtful way. I think they did exactly what they needed to with the movie. They made it for, I just Googled it. They made it for $1 million, and they made 13 to 14 million on it out the box office. So that is an unqualified success. That is that is a hit. They are guaranteed to make a second one. I mean, almost off of that, they're guaranteed to do it. So
I will say,
Matt,
for me,
go ahead, Matt.
As a high point for me, I think was the set piece in the farmhouse when they're running, just from the beginning to the end, where they run in. And they're like, oh, is he sleeping? Yeah. Janet and Quinn is like, what if he's meditating? And then they come back down and he's like, he was meditating. That worked for me. And then the rotary
it's
phone.
such an easy gag with the phone. Yeah. And like, it's an easy gag, but it worked.
It worked, yeah. And then leading into, not to step on that ain't right, but leading to Janet's death and her last words being, I hate you, Quinn. And then the clown, me too.
Yeah.
That worked as well for me. So the farmhouse overall to me, I think was kind of the high point for me.
When Reed was talking about how some of the jokes are really on the nose, that is exactly the one I'm thinking of. She's just been speared with a pitchfork into the ceiling, is laying on the ground, and really what she says is, I hate you, Quinn. And then the clown next to her is like, I hate you too. Like it's great, but it is very on the nose.
Well, and I think
she's like, is it bad? And Quinn's like, yeah, it's so bad. Oh, girl, it's so bad. It's real bad.
I did Ronnie's line where they're walking through the cornfield and she's, digesting the situation that they're in. And she was like, well, yeah, but what does it all mean? She said, it means I'm next. I just thought that was really funny.
And she was.
Yeah, it's a very sort of superficial take on the whole subject as a whole. And I actually don't disagree at all about, what's been said. Nathan, I think it was you riffing on sort of Evan's observations that they're satisfied to kind of point to things as opposed to. It's really interesting, though, Evan. I think this is something you brought up about the sociopathic nature of things. Something that is a not infrequently occurring in my head is the way that people might be completely unwilling to transact physical violence or physical harm in the real. But the way that as a culture, we have become so comfortable with it happening when it's detached somewhere else. And we're horror fans. All of us are horror fans. So we watch things where people are getting butchered and chopped up and killed and murdered and everything. But I think about the ways in which, like, it doesn't qualify as a sociopathic tendency. I don't think that would be fair to say. But the degree of dehumanizing, like, oh yeah, screw those people, that happens pervasively everywhere when they're kind of just hearing about a thing, that is still alarming to me. It is so remarkably alarming. And honestly, it doesn't matter who the proposed, to me, it doesn't matter who the proposed villain is. When I hear about something like that happening, my stomach still churns, like I still have a visceral reaction when I hear about any degree of violence taking place in the world or some kind of trauma. And it's just so interesting to me, Evan, that you bring that up, because like slashers, I think, play in that space where they're just like, oh yeah, these are all just a bunch of sociopaths. And I don't disagree that like actually doing it would be a very different bridge than inside your own imaginations. I'm only pointing out that I am alarmed at how many people are so comfortable with it in their imagination. Clearly by their language, they don't care what happens to the people that they observe these things happening to, even if they would not have the stomach necessarily to transact it themselves. And what makes me afraid is, how do I know they don't have the stomach for it? I'm not trying to be glib, but like, that's the part where I'm just like, I know that how I behave in my imagination is largely who I am as a person. So there might be like civil and social norms that keep some of my baser instincts at bay, but how I think about things in my head is largely how my behavior plays out. So I actually get quite afraid at how clearly the language of some people can just perpetually dehumanize the violence that we see on the news or in society or everything. So this is what I do on the show. I take we're sitting here joking about our favorite things, and then suddenly Reed's like, oh, now Reed's gonna talk, and now we all feel sad.
I mean,
he was meditating.
That did stand out to me.
Yes,
with the final Arthur Hill, Kevin Durand, Kimi, whoever you want to call him, his final spiel to Quinn, and the one thing that stuck out to me was he use these general stereotypes when they talk about the past killings, like, oh, a bunch of hobos came in town, we killed them. There were a bunch of hippies, we killed them. There were a bunch of burnouts. So it's always, there is this, like you said, dehumanizing stereotyping of these groups that they, which is what is able to drive them to these extents, you know what I mean? Which seemed extreme, but when you are able to dehumanize a group of people, unfortunately we've seen the horrors that can come from that real life.
Mm-hmm. And I think the film. No, I know. Yeah, it's good to have a buddy. I think the film. I think that the film is at best is merely trying to, I think, Nathan, you used the example of like, color with crayons. Like, it is not interested in plumbing those depths. It's not even trying to. So I think whatever exists of that tension is really sort of filtered through just this lens of, yeah, that's present. But to AJ's earlier point, like, how's your popcorn and your beer? Like, yeah, sure, all of those things are present, but the popcorn and the beer seems to be the point. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, that, not every film has to be this, deeply layered and textured meditation on grief or generational trauma or anything like that. I think that's.
I don't want to watch Hereditary every time.
right.
I just
think that
Hereditary once, and then A Clown in a Cornfield.
Yeah.
AJ's like, sign me up.
Yeah. I will say, for Reed, your comment about kind of its depth, or this idea we're talking about with its depth. Listen, I co-host the show. I do the homework for this fourth viewing. I thought, I think I'm good. In fact, I split it up because I started it and I started to fall asleep at about the hour mark. And I thought about, I've seen it 3 times already. I should be able to conjure some of this. I did not do that. I did go back and finish it a second time, but I did have the active thought. I was like, I think I'm good. I'm good. I
synced it.
Yeah, I synced it. You can only stare at the crayon drawing so many times before you're like, yep, now it's time to scale up our resources.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Friendo would have been, like, I feel like Friendo would have been a better title
of the piece, just Friendo?
Yeah, like, I mean, I get the book.
Evan says, heck no.
Okay.
I don't think so. It is like boom on the nose, clown in a cornfield. I mean, I think that's part of the selling point of it. Is it almost like you kind of know that it's not taking itself seriously when it calls itself Clown in a Cornfield, I guess. So
yeah, that's true.
I do think now, AJ, I want to applaud you for trying to figure out new ways to add depth to this and something a little mystique laden.
I mean, there were some cornfields. Yeah, there wasn't as many cornfields as I would have expected from the title.
Well, it's like on a cornfield. But
I was like, wait, they left the cornfield. Like, what? Where's the cornfield?
Now, clown in a farmhouse. Clown in a big barn. But Evan, to your point, that is one of the things I think is a little bit genius about it. That it's just so direct. It is so easily marketable, easily sellable. You'd say clown in a cornfield. I mean, my God, when Reed said that phrase 8 years ago on this show, I was like, what did you just say? That was one of the dumbest things I've ever heard you say. And now here we are, you know?
Fair enough.
To your point, AJ, the second book is called The Return of Friendo.
Friendo Lives.
Friendo Lives.
Yeah.
And the third one is called Church of Friendo. So, like, they went there real fast.
So they just abandoned Clown not in a cornfield?
I think it's Clown in a Cornfield.
Or where's the clown this time?
Frendo's Return.
Yes, I think. Well, it's interesting too because I won't share how it ends, but the interesting premise about 2, talking about socio-political commentary and everything, the entire premise of part 2 is that there have been online conspiracy theories that Quinn is actually the killer in book 1 and that she has gotten away with murder. And so it is playing with this notion of, we know what really happened, and the people who died, you are actually really responsible for all of that. And so the second book is exploring the tension between what actually happened and what the narrative is, and who controls the narrative and that kind of thing. Meanwhile, I guess, spoiler alert for book 2, Arthur Hill did not quite meet his ultimate demise in book 1.
Of course.
Shocking.
So, right.
This is my shocked Pikachu
Right. Now, aren't we supposed to I mean, in the movie,
he just drives away.
Is it just supposed to be another random clown at the end that they hit with the car?
No, it's the teacher.
Or is that supposed to be him?
It's the teacher they hit at the end.
Oh,
that explodes into a cloud of blood.
With the chainsaw.
Which they were not driving that fast, to be fair. They were not driving fast enough to
but I figured it out. Because I thought that too. I think the impression you're supposed to get is because he's got a chainsaw, is that the impact from the car whips the chainsaw back onto him and he bursts.
Oh, that's very generous.
That's what happens to
that's what comes from watching it 4 times.
Are we to the physics critique now? Because I got lots of those.
Yeah, Reed. On my 4th viewing, I understood finally how that guy died. It had been bothering me the previous 3, so I really went frame by frame. All right, let's do this. Unless y'all just have other, deep themes you really want to draw out of here.
For this one?
Nope. Okay, cool. Yeah, right. For clowns in some cornfields. So what we are going to do is our lightning round. Lightning round, AJ and Evan. I can't remember if we've done this when y'all been on here. Lightning round is really it's not that ain't rights, but it is just the things, the production elements that you would point to as just, okay, this was kind of fun, that was kind of cool. So we're going to do a round of that, of just pointing to some elements from the piece itself. Matt, I'm going to start with you. What is a lightning round you would throw in the mix here?
Yeah, so the scene, we're all parents here, so I think this would probably hit everybody the same. So the scene where Quinn gets in the car with her dad, and it's a stick shift. She's like, well, I don't know how to drive a stick shift. He's like, yeah, it was supposed to be a bonding thing, whatever. It's just one of those moments where you like try to do something nice to your kids and you set all this stuff up and then they find a way to ruin it. You're like, yeah, that sucks. Thanks. Yeah. It was supposed to be a bonding. Yeah. All right. Yes. Whatever. So that was, that hit a little too close to home for me. So, yeah.
You're welcome.
Awesome. AJ, what about you?
guess there was a moment of confusion that I would like to talk about in this bonus round, which was, I think it was the first guy that got killed like after the opening scene. And they like killed him and he fell in like a wrapped plastic sheet and it like contained everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, these guys are like super careful. Like, but that's really like, unless I'm forgetting something, the only time where it was like some length, I guess, was gone to, or maybe it was like coincidence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a bunch of clowns, so they've got their own style of dispatching people and cleanliness.
I suppose we didn't know at that point, but I don't know. That I just was like, oh, that's some Dexter level stuff. Like they're like efficient.
The kid that got his throat slashed in the bedroom, when he falls down, he literally falls onto a plastic sheet.
Yeah.
And they wrap him right up.
Yeah.
So there was more.
Okay.
There were more
There was
plastic sheet
Maybe it was
wrapping
one of
deaths.
them that they did that, but I guess that's true because there's the head in the box, which we'll come back to, but like
that was very clean, right in the box.
That would not have not been messy.
No, it went right in the box. Like shut it up. That was
yeah,
very clean.
Yes,
it was a real clean
the
cut.
The wound
too.
was cauterized somehow.
Yeah.
Back to the
real
physics critique
cut for a very jagged saw. Yeah.
The physics critique. We're gonna have AJ Physics Corner whenever you come on. You're just gonna.
There we go.
I don't know if you're actually going to explain it to us, but you'll name all the physics.
No, I'll name them and I'll say, now Nathan, you need to watch it again.
Okay,
the fourth time.
They right on that.
They did cut part of that scene though, because afterwards somebody walks in the garage and sees Frendo and says, "What's in the box?" And then
what's in the box?
Wow,
Matt. Wow.
What's in the box?
Speaking of on the nose.
Speaking of on the nose. Speaking of coloring with crayons. All right, Evan, what about you, sir? Just a lightning round production choice you liked or didn't like?
So one of my favorite bits was obviously when all the clowns walk out of the cornfield. That's kind of like, ooh, there's a twist. There's a bunch of clowns. But then when the one kid, the boy who has the shotgun, blows the hand or the fingers off of the one guy, and he goes like, ah, like he screams, and then you realize at that point, like, oh, they're not like God level, like invincible killers. They just blew this guy's hand off. At that point, I like not only laughed, but also appreciated that it had tweaked it again. Rather than having all of these like, slowly walking clowns that can't be touched, that seem to appear everywhere. They can be hurt, and he got his hand blown off. And I really liked. I thought that part was pretty clever and funny.
That's great. That's great. Reed, what you got?
I'll mention two things just in passing. One is just I loved the the shot where Janet and Ronnie and Quinn are all in the cornfield and like they keep putting the hand over their neighbor, and then it ends with like friendo. Yeah, I really really loved that. But we haven't given a lot of love in this conversation yet to the character or performer of Glenn Maybrook. I really, really like the dad character in this. I think he's funny. I think he's endearing. I like that he's not a stereotypical, like, authoritative doofus. Clearly, he is frustrated when Quinn gets detention on her first day and then gets flipping arrested. So he's clearly frustrated, as any parent would be. But as parental authoritative figures go in horror films, they usually don't have great play. Usually they are completely oblivious, often standing in the way. And Glenn Maybrook is not like that, even to the degree of pretty much saving, at least partially saving the day at the end. And I loved that scene where, it's a direct lift from the book, but where one friendo is making him operate on another friendo, and his cleverness in that scene is really, really strong. So I love that character a lot. I think I think it's just a really good alternative take to a parental authoritative figure in a slasher that we don't frequently get to see. So I really like him in this.
Yes, good. That's a good shout out. And that actor is Aaron Abrams. I also wouldn't have said this necessarily, but you made me think of it. Katie Douglas, who plays Quinn, I think really does a great job here. Now, until you said it, it didn't even click with me. His name is Glenn. and her name is Quinn. Are we assuming that the mother who's passed away is Gwen? You just go on and on down the line here. So for my lightning round, it's using an external source or another reference, but I just love. I love. If anyone has not yet watched the movie, the back half of the movie I'm about to reference, I don't love as much. But the first hour of this movie I adore and should queue up is Weird, the Daniel Radcliffe starring Weird Al fake biopic, where they introduce the concept of the Hey Boy. And the Hey Boy gets referenced in the movie Weird a couple times before you actually know what they're referring to. But in context of the film, Al is invited to a polka party, of course. And the friend just says like, well, leave a Hey Boy. And you don't know what they're referring to. Well, then Al goes to the polka party. His parents come to his bedroom and find not Al in bed, but a pillow dummy stuffed with hay, right? So a Hey Boy. And I love in Clown in a Cornfield when Glenn Maybrook goes and tries to have a heart-to-heart with his daughter and instead finds a Hey Boy. It just, I don't know, it makes me laugh. I really love that happened. So the Hey Boy, everyone should watch Weird. Okay. Okay.
Wait.
Whoa,
You interrupted.
What?
You interrupted me. I have to interrupt you. Nobody said it. I know nobody said it. We're about to go to That Ain't Right, but nobody mentioned it, and it wouldn't fit into That Ain't Right. I love the Rust and Coal twist. I love that so much. It is another direct lift from the book, but specifically that moment when after they're all just like, oh yeah, Cole rejects everybody, and then suddenly they're in the barn and listening to Rust and Cole talk, and all three of the girls are like, it's really funny.
That's a different kind of Hey Boy. That's like, Hey Boy.
Wow, Nathan, go in there. Okay, yeah, sure.
The movie does. I mean, okay. Lest we forget it, we are a horror show. So if it's gory, if it's gross, if it causes you a fright, what scares you about this movie? What makes you say, that ain't right? All right, so That Ain't Right for Clown in a Cornfield. Everybody gets one selection to drop in the hat. I'm going to go in reverse order on my screen, which means I'm going to start with Evan. Evan, what is your That Ain't Right for Clown in a Cornfield?
It's hard because all of the kills in this movie, you're like, oh, you want to see them. So none of them made me go, oh, it's not a genuine That Ain't Right. But I guess when the clown has the chainsaw in the cornfield and sticks I don't know if it's a girl or a guy, I can't remember, and picks her up, and it's just like,
yeah.
I mean, that's about as close as you get to that. So that would be mine.
I can. That's a good one. I mean, that's a good kill. That's Ronnie. AJ, what about you?
I'm okay. Good. I don't have to use my backup. I am definitely using the decapitation on the weight bench, because if you've lifted weights at all, even just someone holding the bar where you can't put it away is terrifying. And although the holding the saw there and it just straight up clean cutting, we could pick that apart all day. But the fact that that's what they did, and then it just flew in the cooler, perfect shot. And he just just doesn't miss a beat, closes it, and walks out. I don't know, that. I love that one, and it also ain't right.
That absolutely qualifies. What about you, Matt?
So this is a combo that ain't right. That's so right for me. It's when the very beginning, when the first friendo shows up, the girl falls with the arrow in her back. And the friendo comes out, and then the DJ from the party says, "Hey, check it out! It's Friendo!" Bam, and then gets a crossbow straight to the forehead. I watched that scene a couple of times. It's just the delivery of "Hey, check it out! It's Friendo!" and then it's gone. That was So that's all right. That ain't right for me.
Yes. I was going to bring that up in the comedic section earlier.
It's so good.
But
love it.
Yeah.
Reed, I'll go and then you finish us off. So, kind of complimenting you there, Matt. I thought you were going to reference this there, but kind of fleshing out that scene, no pun intended. I think it is that ain't right, though it is, I think, hysterical how little they believe what's happening in real time when Matt, the movie Matt's head that got so cleanly severed gets chunked into the little pasture there and a little where they're standing, and they're like, oh look, they made a plaster of it, and they toss it to each other, and what they think is corn syrup is getting everywhere. It's so nasty, but it's very funny. And then Quinn has the revelation that I don't think this is fake. So that is my that ain't right. What about you, Reed?
Still a couple of impressive kills on the table, but I actually am going to go with Sheriff Dunn, old Will Sasso, who's an actor I appreciate tremendously, getting a cattle prod down the throat. That ain't right. It's a pretty cool scene, a good payoff for kind of what we've been building up to. And yeah, it is really gnarly. Just his face as he's expiring, his face just starts to melt off of his skull. It ain't right. It's great.
It's intense, gets that cattle prod to the gullet, and she's like, don't have a cow. Did you squirm? Did you wince? Did you squint your eyes real tight? It was probably because of what we around here call that ain't right, friendo.
All right. Well, this has been a fun and brisk conversation. I think it is appropriately on point for Clown in a Cornfield, and unfortunately, it has to come to an end. We have reached the point to where we are going to rate this film as we do all of the media that we cover on our unique metric of the fog meter. The fog meter, for those who might be new, is how we gauge not necessarily the quality of these films, but their gravity, what they ask of you as the viewer. And we do that in two specific metrics per the title of the show: fear and God. Now, fear doesn't necessarily have to mean how scary the piece is. It could be how disturbing or upsetting or graphic the piece is. And God doesn't necessarily mean how spiritual the piece is. It's more about perspective, what this film has on its mind and how effectively it conveys that thing. So AJ and Evan, you're pretty familiar with the fog meter at this point, but I'll still let you round us off and go last. And I will start with Matt. Go ahead and give me your fear and God scores 0 to 10 for Clown in a Cornfield.
Yeah, so fear, one thing we didn't really mention was visually, I loved how claustrophobic the cornfield felt. It's not really something like reading the book, you didn't really get that, but then when you watch the movie, you kind of understand more about you can really hide in a cornfield and you don't know what's coming up, what's behind you. It's I think they kind of nailed that visually. So yeah, I mean, all to say it's not that scary. There's a couple of gnarly kills, but I mean, probably like a 2 on the fear. For God, we've kind of touched on a couple of things that themes that kind of resonated with me, even though they weren't fleshed out so much. But having read the book probably helps also kind of flesh out some of it. Experience as a parent of teenagers, I think, kind of impacts some of it. So I'll say for God, go for a 4.
All right, 2 and 4. Thank you so much, Nathan. Your fear and God scores for Clown in a Cornfield.
Sure. I'm going to try to grade this as how I think it's intended, which is kind of as that gateway sort of piece. And I think it's true. It isn't like nail biting or anything. I mean, if you're approaching this as someone just getting into the genre and, aren't super acclimated to, slasher like this, I think it actually does have some pretty gnarly kills, however viscerally they're delivered or not. But so I'm going to go, I'll go a 5 on fear. And by the same token, spoiler alert, I'm going to go 5s on both, because I just think, again, if I'm processing this as someone who isn't aware what horror can do thematically, this has some ideas on its surface that are interesting. Now, again, how deeply the movie does or doesn't engage with those notwithstanding, I think the ideas themselves, Reed, you referenced the Rust and Cole sort of twist. You have the intergenerational element. I like that sort of, as I called it, the postmodern aspect of the kids not knowing when they're being victimized kind of component. I think all of those are there. They just aren't deep in how they're executed. So I'll go 5s on both.
All right, perfect. For myself, I think so. For Fear, I'm gonna land on a 4. I think it's not very gnarly. It's not the kind of thing that's going to really terrify or unnerve you. But I don't find it boring. It's it's pretty engaging, and it can be pretty suspenseful. We've all, I think, to some degree, referenced the energy when multiple clowns come out of the cornfield. That's a very, very galvanizing kind of scene. Raises the stakes pretty effectively. So that's a 4 for me for the fear factor. For God, I'm torn because when I think about my experience of reading the book, I think the book is more thoughtful and a little bit more complex thematically, and the movie does not translate that way. But I don't think it's an error. I think it's a choice. I think that the film is intending to be lighter and is intending to be more balanced in that way. And I think what the film is simply trying to do is simply tell a fun story with some fun slasher kills and some fun humor peppered throughout, with the thematic stuff intentionally shunted to a more superficial place. So I'm going to give it a generous rating on that front and give it a 6 for the God meter, because I do think the film does a really effective job at doing what it is trying to do, even if the book might have had slightly more thematic, slightly higher thematic ambitions than that. So yeah, 4 for Fear, 6 for God for me. AJ, I'll come to you next. Go ahead and give me both your Fear and your God scores, 0 to 10.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. I mean, I had fun with it, so like, it's a fun watch. I will never watch it 4 times like Nathan. So it's certainly not on the higher end of the scale, but like, I'm not sitting here like, oh, that was so terrible. Why did I watch that? But I'm probably aligned with you guys. I think on the fear level of like a 4-ish, maybe 5. I could maybe be convinced for 5, but I think I'm gonna keep it at 4. Um, like you guys said, I mean, I enjoyed some of the kills, even though, you could argue some of them were a bit ridiculous. I guess I can't help but kind of compare these to some other more recent films that I just think did this a little better. Like Evan mentioned Hard Eyes. I enjoyed that a lot
Mm-hmm.
more, I think, than I did this one. Thanksgiving, that's within the last couple years, is another one I would compare maybe to this a little bit. I just it doesn't quite rise to the level of those movies for me. Um, I think I'm gonna refer. I actually, after you watch movies, you go look at what people said about them. So I can't claim this quote, but it perfectly summarizes my feelings, which is, it says, and this is from Brian Tellerico of RogerEbert.com. He said, I found Craig's film much more interesting when it was just allowed to be chaotic instead of when it was explaining the chaos. And like that for me was like,
that's pretty
not
good.
that like, obviously they got to kind of try to tie everything up, but like, I just more enjoyed the ride than the resolution, if that makes sense. So
Sure.
on the God standpoint, I think I will give it a 5 on that note.
Awesome. All right. So that was a 4 and a 5. Evan, round us home. What are your Fear and God scores for Clown in a Cornfield?
I assume, how you look at fear is somewhat subjective. And so I would have to give it a 2 because I was not fearful at all. It's not that other movies of this ilk like genuinely scare me, but they create a sense of a tension and around some of the kills that this one with its humor doesn't have, which I enjoyed
fair.
that, but
Yeah.
I don't. The only thing that would make it scary for people is the gore. So, like, if you are upset with lots of blood and or that kind of stuff, then you would be more afraid. The movie itself, as it presents it, is not particularly scary. it basically feels like Happy Death Day if you've seen that, but if Happy Death Day all the kills were like more violent. And Happy Death Day is a great movie, but it is not in any way, shape, or form scary. And so this one didn't feel scary to me at all. So I give it a 2 on that. And on the God factor, I will nudge it up a 3, just because other people have talked about the book and the themes that may or may not be present in the source material, and some of Reed's comments about, you know, sociopathy and you know, yes, the people in the movie are pure sociopaths, and do these people exist? But you see, you know, templates for that in the real world, and so I'm like, okay, you know what? That's not a bad point. So on the God point, I'll give it a 3. So just 2 and 3 for me.
It's so funny, Evan. You know, we're all you know, in adult relationships with spouses, etc., and have kids, and like everyone's angle on or you know, where a person comes from on any given scary movie is just always interesting to me. Like, I was watching this, not this go round, but like on viewing number 3 with Penny, and I remember my wife, you know, she walks through the room and just sees a clown scene, and she's like, "How are you showing this to our daughter?" And it's just like, oh, this is nothing, you know. We're good, you know. But it's just fascinating, you know, people's you know, all of us are old hat at this point, but you know, the things that actually are scary, you know, to us, Clown in a Cornfield is not really that scary, but to a total novice, that imagery is dreadful.
Yeah. Might be pretty rough.
That's fair.
Before we reveal the average of the fog meter, AJ, you have your hand up. Let me go ahead and offer up what you
I just wanted to ask Evan. So, did you know that this guy directed Tucker and Dale vs. Evil? Yeah. So I was like, once I saw that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
I love Tucker and Dale versus Evil, but that is not a movie I was scared at any point in time.
Sure. No, of course not.
Yeah.
So
he also, it's interesting because Eli Craig also directed another film that I think just went straight to Netflix. It's probably still on there, called Little Evil, starring Adam Scott and Evangeline Lilly. It's about like a kind of an Omen-esque child that my memory of is pretty fun too, but it's all this same thing that we're talking about, like not really intending to be very scary. It's more lighthearted in the horror space, legitimately, but intentionally more lighthearted. Well, we collectively have given Clown in a Cornfield a solid, no rounding, 4 out of 10 on the fog meter, which again, I'll emphasize, sometimes when we get a low score on the fog meter, we think like, oh, that means it's a bad movie. Not at all. That's it. Specifically, it's like what it asks of you as the viewer. And I think 4 out of 10 is perfect for like what it asks of you, what Clown in a Cornfield asks of you as a viewer. AJ, I keep coming back to like, yeah, grab the popcorn and a beer. That's Clown in a Cornfield. Like that's where this film kind of sits. Perhaps the more pertinent question, and I'll ask in reverse order of the fog meter, is after this conversation, where are you at with this film? So I'll take that question first to Evan. After this conversation we've had, where are you at on Clown in a Cornfield?
I still really, really like it. I think Nathan's point about it being a gateway movie is pretty solid. I could definitely see, like, if I was introducing someone to horror and I wanted to up the like gore, but not necessarily the emotional fraughtness or the tension underneath it, this would be the perfect next step, because it's fun, but it's also kind of got a little of that kind of stuff. Although, you know what, if I was going to do that, I'd probably show them Freaky instead. Freaky's
that's a good flick.
One of my absolute favorite one.
Vince Vaughn, Catherine Newton.
Yeah. I love that movie so much. Oh my gosh,
I love that film.
So good. But anyway, I could see, I know, 4 times way too much, but I could definitely see watching this again in a year or two around Halloween, being like, let's watch Corn in a Clownfield.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Evan. AJ, same question after this chatting. Where are you at on Clown in a Cornfield?
I mean, I think hopefully I've made it pretty clear with where I'm at. I had fun with it. It's not something I probably will go back to. I don't see myself around Halloween saying, let's watch Clown in a Cornfield. I think I'm good with the one watch. And it was definitely, I mean, the best part of it was chatting about it with you guys, of course.
Nice.
And so, yeah, it's fun. If clowns are your thing, it does clowns right, I feel like. So,
if you like cornfields,
and if cornfields are your thing, you might be disappointed there weren't quite as many cornfields as I thought there would be.
That's the AJ review. Not enough cornfields. Where were these cornfields?
Right. I want corn in the clown fields. That's what I want. I can't stop seeing like a corn mascot running through a field of clowns.
So what I'm learning, and you know, Matt, you're prepped for this, but what I'm learning is, one, we need to have Evan back on for our Redux of Freaky read at some point. And we just need AJ to call his shot. You know, AJ, I'm worried we're expending our goodwill because AJ comes on and he's just pretty ambivalent about the movies, which is okay. It's the series, but I need you to call your shot next. Just pick the movie you want to cover, and we're gonna do that for you, AJ.
All right.
Matt, what about you? Where are you at?
Yeah, so I'm of the age now where you fire up a movie, you check the runtime, 90 minutes, you're like, yes, I'm gonna make it. You know, yes, I can do this. I don't have to make this a week-long thing. So, you know, from that perspective, you know, it goes fast, it moves well. Like I said, there's just enough clever writing and clever moments, I feel like, that keeps you going. As my daughter said, like, you know, she's like, when it first started, I thought it was going to be kind of lame, but by the end of it, I thought, yeah, that was pretty good. So, yeah, that's my review. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good.
Yeah,
that's awesome. All right, Nathan, where are you at on Clown in a Cornfield? Up for a fifth time?
No time soon. Maybe when the 9-year-old is about 5 years older, that's when it'll come back off the shelf. But no, I like the movie. I think it's fun for what it is. It doesn't. I really love the way you framed the Fog Me to Read. Like it just doesn't ask a whole lot, but I do think what it delivers is kind of fun and popcorny, as we've said. I'm happy to let it sit on the shelf for an extended season, but I'm not sad that it is on the shelf. Kind of with its cinematic neighbors.
Well, fantastic. I'm in a very similar place. I've mentioned it already, but honestly, like, I like this film quite a bit. We'll have no problems rewatching it if I'm showing it, especially if I'm showing it to a first-time watcher. I don't know that I'll revisit it again on my own. What I will revisit on my own, ironically, is I'm sure I'll read the book again. The book is fun. It's the kind of thing, when you're a reader the way I am, I'm not going to try to derail us too much, but when you're a reader the way I am, sometimes you get lost in the weeds of a lot of heavier books, either, thicker and more demanding novels or nonfiction or something like that. And so every once in a while, I just need a palate cleanser. And I'm just like, I just want to read something that's quick and easy, and that if I fall asleep reading it, it's not too much loss. And Clown in a Cornfield is such a great time reading the book. So I highly recommend that. Even if you've already seen the film, the narrative has been spoiled for you, but the book is a different experience that I definitely recommend. So yeah, that puts Clown in a Cornfield in the books for the fear of God. AJ and Evan, thank you so much again for joining us. We are rooting very, very much for what we are calling the end of an era, not the end of Final Girl, but the end of an era that will kick off with Kickstarter starting February 3rd. So listeners, as you're listening to this, you have about a week to go and sign up for the actual, sign up for the reminder for the Kickstarter and pay attention to that Kickstarter. So yes, by all means, check out their stuff. If you haven't ever played a Final Girl, man, like, just even if it's just checking out the core box in a feture film, like, there's a lot of content out there, and it's really, really fun. So thank you again, guys, for coming and spending some time with us.
Play a Final Girl, guys.
Yes, play Final Girl.
Play a Final Girl, guys.
And so next week, we are going to be joined by, Nathan wasn't being cheeky, we're going to be joined, if schedules permit, I always like to say that because things happen, if schedules permit, we're going to be joined by a host of people who are actually final girls from the game. Some of them are faces that if you follow board gaming and specifically board game streaming, you will recognize some of the people that will be guests on our show next week. And for those of you who are wanting to watch the movie beforehand, we're going to be visiting a film that I did not think we would get to in this space, but I'm so excited that we are. It's a film starring Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow. Came out last year, and it's called The Rule of Jenny Penn, a very unconventional horror film that I would strongly encourage you to check out before our conversation next week. So check out The Rule of Jenny Penn, and as we say on every episode, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom, but not the end of the conversation. In that spirit, we encourage you to fear nothing else and be on your way rejoicing. Thank you, AJ. Thank you, Evan. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Nathan, as always, and thank you, listeners, as always. We'll see you all next week.
Hey, boy.